Adam sat quietly at the computer desk. Blueprints of the city brightened the screen in front of him. Little red dots indicated the location of each reported ice sculpture. There were 4 altogether, each one painstakingly detailed. His first thought had been that these statues were part of some sort of modern art installation, but he hadn't been able to find anything about them in any news articles, and his internet search had come up empty as well.
I guess it could be unsanctioned,
he thought out loud.
Maybe the artist couldn't get a permit or something.
He looked down at the shaky photograph on the desk. The features of the statue were almost mesmerizing.
He looks sad.
Kathy's voice felt like a static shock. Adam looked at the clock. How is it already morning?
What?
The sculpture,
Kathy clarified, pointing to the clearer photo on the second computer monitor.
There's something about his face. He just looks sad.
Maybe it's because nobody can see him.
What do you mean?
Adam gestured at the blueprints.
It's been placed by the docks near the old library.
Kathy's brow furrowed.
Why would anybody put a sculpture there?
That's the question, isn't it? Night Shadow is wondering as well.
He's looking into it?
He's keeping an eye on it. I mean, weird things popping up could mean anything. And of course, guess who owns the old building?
Lawrence,
Kathy stated without hesitation.
But art? It doesn't seem all that mayhemy. Are there more?
Adam nodded.
There are at least 4 in various locations.
Do you have photos?
No, just hearsay.
Well, let's go see for ourselves.
I don't know. Night Shadow is still in the preliminary research with this. It's likely nothing.
If it's nothing, we may as well find out now. It'll free up brain space for more important things, like watching Hallmark movies.
Adam gave a slight chuckle.
All right. No harm in taking a look. It's public property, after all. As long as we stay out of the building anyway.
Think civilian clothes are fine?
I don't see a need for masks, but I would change out of that reindeer sweater if I were you.
Kathy looked down at her shirt.
That's fair.
She headed to the training room where she kept some spare clothes in her locker. Adam printed a map of the city and placed a mark over each street where the ice sculptures were already placed. Going out. Adam looked up to see Night Shadow standing next to him. First, Kathy catches him unawares, and now this? Maybe he was pushing himself too hard. It wasn't like he needed to make a good first impression. Why did he feel such a need to prove himself again? Adam blinked.
Oh, yeah. Kathy suggested we see if there are any other statues. We might be able to learn something in person, and we'll just be walking on public sidewalks. No real investigating.
Night Shadow looked at the map. No need to justify it so hard, Adam. That's a good idea. And besides, you look like you could use a stroll in some fresh air. Adam couldn't argue with that. He had been sitting at the same desk for hours now, looking over the same pictures, and the same lighting, feeling the slight breeze of that same fan that made a clicking noise whenever it changed direction. A break sounded good. He looked from the screen to his mentor.
Is there anything new?
With the statues or the letter? Night Shadow's eyes drifted across the computer screens. Adam paused.
Both, I guess.
It has been quiet on both ends, I'm afraid. They were both silent for a moment before Night Shadow finally made eye contact. Try not to worry about the letter, Adam. Kathy may be hiding from her concerns, but it won't help either of you to dwell on it. Adam nodded. He was still curious, but he could better use his energy by focusing on the task at hand, and these statues were intriguing.
How's this? Less conspicuous?
Kathy re-entered the room now, wearing a navy cable knit sweater and holding a plain gray hoodie. Night Shadow smiled. If you're both ready to go, I'll leave you to it. Remember, don't engage if you see anyone suspicious. Just report back. Understood? Adam and Kathy nodded in unison.
Understood.
Gotta say, I missed the bike,
Kathy said a bit absently as she handed Adam her helmet after they parked. The comment wasn't meant to, but it sent a wave of guilt through the air that caught in Adam's throat. For a second he let himself wonder how hard he'd made things when he left. A cold breeze blew off the harbor and jolted him out of his thoughts. The docks were a lot less seedy in the winter. There were fewer people milling about, and the ones that were present looked like tourists who had either wandered from their maps or had simply expected the city's excellent Christmas decor to stretch further in this direction. Adam scanned the docks. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Except...
There it is.
He pointed toward a low brick building a few meters from where they currently stood. Kathy followed his gaze, and they walked casually over to more closely inspect the icy figure. The craftsmanship was incredible. Every detail from the man's scarf to his eyebrows was painstakingly precise. If he hadn't been so clearly made of ice, he would have looked alive.
"You're right,"
Adam said, looking at the sculpture.
"He does look sad."
Didn't you say there were a few more?
"Yes,"
Adam confirmed.
"There should be one on the other side of this building, and then 2 more closer to the fish market over that way."
He pointed back towards his motorcycle.
"We must have missed them on our way to this one."
Kathy frowned, but it was unclear what she was thinking. She took a quick photo of the art, then turned to Adam.
Let's go find them. I'm curious to see if they all have similar expressions.
It took a bit of guesswork, but sure enough, 3 more ice statues had found themselves hidden in the area. Each one boasted the same level of lifelike detail. The last piece had been by far the most difficult to locate, because it depicted its subject lying down.
"He looks like he could wake up at any minute,"
Adam said after the loud closing of a garage door made him double-check to see if the Iceman was still asleep.
He looks familiar.
"What?"
Kathy knelt to get a better look at the statue's face.
Adam,
She said in almost a mystified tone.
I think these might be real people.
"Wait, what?"
Adam didn't know if he'd heard her correctly. She got back on her feet.
I think these are modeled after actual people from around the city.
She paused, thinking.
I've seen this man before. I don't remember where, but I know I've seen him.
Adam frowned. If these did depict real people, who were they, and why were they so hidden?
We should get back.
Kathy said after a moment.
We found what we wanted, and it's starting to give me the creeps.
Adam agreed, and they made their way back to the parked motorcycle, both eager to relay their findings to Night Shadow. Back at the lair, Kathy uploaded the photos they had taken to the main computer. She initiated a facial recognition scan while Adam retrieved their mentor. The icy expression on the sleeping statue was seared into her mind. All the sculptures were bothersome. Each one had looked sad or worried or in pain. She never claimed to understand modern art. But what was the point? Why make them like that? Why make them at all if they were just going to be hidden behind dumpsters and left to the elements?
It doesn't make sense.
Both Adam and Night Shadow entered the computer room, voicing their agreement. Night Shadow frowned.
"You say one of these figures looked familiar, Kathy?"
She nodded and enlarged the photo of the sleeper.
This one. Do you recognize any of them?
"I admit, I didn't even stop to wonder if they might be based on real people."
Night Shadow studied each of the statues in turn.
"There's nothing coming up through facial recognition?"
Kathy shook her head.
It's only been running a few minutes, though.
"Let's give it some time,"
Adam stated. He had returned with a glass of water for himself, but offered it to his partner instead.
"Here, you look like you could use this."
He set the glass on the desk. The little cubes of ice within it clicked innocently as they settled into place. Kathy's eyes narrowed.
Adam, how long do you think that ice sculpture would normally last in this weather?
"I don't know. It's been pretty cold this week. There's still a good amount of snow on the ground."
True.
She paused.
But the snow started last night. It was pretty sunny yesterday afternoon.
She paused again.
When was the first photo taken?
Adam frowned.
"About a week ago. What are you thinking?"
I'm thinking then there must be something different about this ice.
She pulled up the original photograph to compare it to the one she'd just recently taken.
They look exactly the same, don't they?
"Interesting indeed."
Night Shadow agreed.
"Logic would conclude that by now at least some of the features would have melted." "So what does that mean?"
It means we should get a sample.
Kathy said matter-of-factly.
If we can figure out what's keeping the ice in this pristine condition, it may lead us to finding out who's making them. It could be as innocent as the college chemistry department. Fraternities have done some weird things over the years.
Adam sneered at his memories of the ones he'd interacted with.
"You got that right."
A low beeping brought the 3 of them out of their thoughts. Adam turned to the small computer nearest to him.
Hey, looks like you were right, Kathy.
He printed the results of the facial recognition scan.
That sculpture you said looks familiar has the same face as this guy.
He handed her the paper.
This says he's missing? I must have seen his picture in the police station a while back.
Her brow furrowed in thought.
The likeliness is uncanny.
I admit, this new development has me concerned, Night Shadow said after a moment. Kathleen, it may be time to talk with that detective of yours.
Or what?
Adam sounded confused. Scott Engelman. He thought for a second.
The rookie cop that we let bust the Ace Gang a few times?
Kathy smiled.
That's actually one of the reasons he got promoted to detective so quickly. But he deserved it on his own merit. He's been a big asset over the years, and the promotion has allowed him more freedom to assist with even minor leads.
Adam was silent. He was not sure how he felt about involving an outsider, especially a policeman. But he couldn't argue the need to find out more about the missing person's connection.
I'll give him a call.
All right, then, Night Shadow concluded. You find out what you can from the police, Kathy. He looked at Adam. And perhaps you should resume training before anything else. If mayhem is involved in this, we need to make sure you're still in top shape.